But anyway, back to my little example. Merlot's Merlot was held to be primarily a surname and confusing to Lago de Merlot, so they could not register. Now, every one of these is different. And so that's what makes it tricky when I said the lawyerly answer is. Another example here, I'm sure many of you are familiar with Eberle, which is a well-known winery here. Eberle's the last name. Is it primarily a surname? And that's the question. Is it functioning primarily as a surname? That's a tough question to answer because it's factually intensive. It depends on each case. So again, that goes back to my urgency that if someone is going to use a surname, that's the time. It doesn't mean I'm going to say don't use your surname, but I am going to say let's counsel and be proactive on how we make certain you never have a problem with somebody saying it's primarily a surname when you try to enforce your name, okay? And that's not expensive and it's not costly. It's just sitting down and, how do we put it in our advertising? What can we do to make it look more like a brand as opposed to a surname? If you look at this guy, I mean, his own label said it was Merlot's apostrophe S Merlot. Well, that Merlot's apostrophe kind of looks like he's using it as his last name, right? Whereas I look at the Eberle label, to me it's distinctive, and one of the factors is whether the surname is rare. Now, I thought that was interesting. If it's a common surname, that goes against you. If you happen to have a rare last name, you have a better shot at being successful in overcoming it. So there's 4 factors in all, and we're not going to spend a huge amount of time on those, but it's something to be aware of if you or someone you know wants to protect a brand name that is a surname, okay? One of the other factors is whether the term has any other recognized meaning, okay? If there's some other meaning besides a surname, that would tend to mitigate against the finding that it's merely just a surname. And again, whether the term has the look and feel of a surname. And interestingly enough, the one I mentioned first, which is how rare is the name, seems to be one of the more important factors when it comes up. So if you're going to use your last name, make it an unusual last name is probably the moral of the story.